How healthy is the way you think? Is your mindset and the way you speak to yourself sustainable, especially if the mission is greatness? When your expectations and the things you hope, wish, and dream for are far from your reality, are you accountable for the role you play? And can you accept the parts that are out of your control? Do you have agency, or are you a helpless victim? Do you choose to show empathy and compassion, or are you judgmental and self-centered? Do you have what it takes, or is there always gonna be a convenient excuse? And every single day you're choosing, which side will it be? Do you have enough time, or should you let that dream go? Are you really taking it serious if you haven't broken it down into much smaller, more manageable steps in order to be more accountable and actually build some momentum towards whatever it is that you know is important? This is the infinite evolution. When do you quit? When do you accept failure? When do you choose to struggle and fight and give it everything you have because you know that it's worth it? When do you finally move on from mediocrity and move up and elevate to the level that you know you're capable of? This is the infinite evolution. The way you speak to yourself or think says everything about who you are and what you are willing to accept. Every action is preceded by a thought, which means that managing your mind with wisdom and discernment must be a priority. This is the infinite evolution. And when you combine this with how precious and unpredictable our time here is, the urgency to find balance becomes that much more evident. Once again, if you aren't intentional with the power of your mind, somebody else will be. Our actions, effort, and ultimately results largely depend on the quality of the source, your mind, the purpose behind it all, driving and pushing you to be better, but also the conscious decision to use the wisdom and discernment that you've already accumulated over a lifetime in order to continue to guide your steps. Once you live, experience, and go through these things, there's no reason why you shouldn't be using them. The tone, nature, purpose, and wisdom that we speak to ourselves with will directly impact the way you execute. Whether it's sports, business, family, relationship, the difference between greatness and coming up short is often that small, which means that the message coming from the voice at the top becomes that much more important. And there are certain characteristics that are going to lead to those outcomes, because when you're decisive, driven by a purpose, and bound by a code of integrity, the way you move is going to be a lot different. Whether it's speaking too harshly or without enough passion, you sacrifice inspiration for anxiety and stress, and all because you couldn't get the delivery right. And what happens when that person on the receiving end is you? You become a victim of your own mindset, a prisoner of your own thoughts. But the silver lining to it all is that you can always think your way out of it and become the best version of yourself. When you deliver the same message with grace, urgency, and realistic adjustments, you get far better results. You increase the chances of it being heard with open ears, especially when that person is you. You don't do better when you speak to yourself in a way that doesn't build you up. You can be critical, but it needs to be constructive. You can take issue with things, but it needs to build towards something better. Otherwise, what are you doing? The road to hell is paved with good intentions, but the path to execution and results lies within purposeful action. This is the infinite evolution. How much time any of us have is completely unknown. Treating yours as rare means you have a far better chance of honoring in the best way possible through action. That of all the infinite possibilities, you are here in this moment right now, capable of immense pressure for good. Do you remind yourself that even though tomorrow isn't promised, you still prepare for it in the best way you can? Gratitude through action, results by way of intention. Or that dwelling on the past without learning any lesson from it is going to sabotage and disrespect your future. What do you tell yourself about how much control you have? Because it's plenty, more than enough to make a difference, but still human and largely at the mercy of the Creator. Do not forget it. Don't allow yourself to get too big and think that you have more control than you do, or that you have less than you do. What actions are you taking? What energy and mindset are you embracing in order to get the most out of it? When all is said and done and you finally have to answer to the universe about what you did with the resources that you were blessed with, what will you be able to say? This leads directly into what you tell yourself about who you are and what you could become if you're intentional about your steps. Where you've been and what you've done matters as well, but where you're going and what you're doing matters the most. This is the infinite evolution. Are you a cynic or a winner? Faith-driven or a doubter? Lazy and passive or active and intentional? Either you decide or somebody else will. No influencer, algorithm, or celebrity could ever come close to the force for change that is your mind. But when your drive can be stolen by distraction and your discipline compromised by attention, who's really in control? It probably isn't you. What do you tell yourself about why you're even here? Your purpose is the engine that drives everything, but who chose it? How effective has it been? Are you destined to be great or mediocre because of your messaging? What do you tell yourself about how to treat others? When you give somebody power over your heart, yes, you open yourself up to potential heartbreak, but you also create space for love too. How you treat others plus the power you give them cannot be underestimated. Once you understand how hard and confusing life can be, you should also be willing to extend grace. This also includes forgiveness, because without it, you'll literally rot yourself to the core thinking about somebody who's already moved on. But what are you telling yourself about letting go of the past and that situation that only has power as long as you choose to dwell in it? Don't let it happen to you. On the other hand, as much as we want to be positive, kind, and loving to people, we also need to have the appropriate level of caution because not everybody means you well. And sometimes opening yourself up to the wrong person, allowing the wrong person into your space or even your mind is the perfect poison that you never needed. Although a lot of people might not say it, there are so many people in this world who are unsure of how to treat themselves. But once again, every thought begins with an action. Once you decide what the standards are about what you're willing to accept, who is worthy of being around you, the caliber and kinds of mission that you know you're going to commit yourself to, everything begins to sort itself out. But it starts with the intentional seed being planted. And even if you aren't the one to plant the seed, you have to be the person to nourish it and allow it to flourish and grow and become exactly what it could. This is the infinite evolution. What do you tell yourself about your standards, level of urgency, and willingness to follow direction, especially when you know what needs to be done because it was placed on your heart by the Creator Himself? For this, you need trust and to build a track record, and all of it starts inside of your head. Anyone can start over. So the same way you may not have put enough energy and effort into that dream before, you can decide right here, right now, that today will be different. You can decide to commit at a level that you never had before in order to receive results that you never dreamed of. Failure and loss will be a part of life. So will wins and success. But what do you tell yourself about each path? When you're victorious, do you celebrate a little too hard, get a little too fat, and then take yourself out of the game for the next year? Or do you manage the level of celebration so that you can continue to have success year after year after year? And what about when you're down? If you know that you failed, if you know that you came up short, do you continue to go back to the drawing board? Do you keep on giving it your all, or do you keep on making excuses? Do you keep on cutting corners and continue to ignore the fact that the number one reason why you aren't where you need to be is sitting right there in the mirror, or better yet, right inside of your skull? Don't let it be you. Failure, loss, and heartbreak is sure to come, but so will victory and success, often beyond what you even dreamed was possible. And when it does, will you be ready? Both are inevitable, but how you choose to view and subsequently handle them will set the tone for the future. Which type of foundation will you choose to build for yourself? History is littered with tons of champions who celebrated just a little too hard and sabotaged the very next year. How many potential champions sabotaged their crown before they ever even receive it because they weren't willing to do what it takes before the big moment arrived? Don't let it happen to you. When you don't see the value in preparation, you also won't see the fruit of the victory. This is the infinite evolution. How many champions forfeit their crown because they never heard the right message from the most important person? You. The ratio of signal to noise has never been more imbalanced than it is right now. There's an infinite number of distractions that will love nothing more than to steal your time, attention, and energy. But it's only possible if you allow it. It is up to you to tip the scales in your favor by taking control of the narrative. Look at every single moment where you do have the chance to make a difference in your future as a blessing, because that's exactly what it is. There will be times where you don't even get a say in the final decision, but the power you do have is more than enough to make a difference. But you will not access it if you don't constantly remind yourself of its presence. Every single action is preceded by a thought. This means understanding and adapting to it becomes imperative. The things we see and hear over and over again eventually take root in our mind and eventually play out in our actions, which means that managing your mind with wisdom and discernment must be a priority. Is your mindset plus the way you speak to yourself sustainable, especially if the mission is greatness? Are you accountable for the role you play? What do you tell yourself about boundaries and the things you're willing to tolerate, or standards and the level of excellence that you know you need to be rising to? Do you show empathy and compassion where others wouldn't? Or do you show judgment and prove to be as shallow as everybody else? Do you have what it takes, or will there always be a convenient excuse? Are you committed to spending the time and energy it takes to make that dream come true, or should you finally let it go and accept that you haven't done what it takes or are not willing to do what it takes in order to make it real? What are you telling yourself? What is the tone like? What is the purpose behind it? What is the lens of discernment that you use to filter it all? Are you utilizing the wisdom that you've acquired over years and years of a lifetime, or do you allow fear and indecision to stop you before you ever even get rolling? Do you doubt, lie, and make excuses, or do you have faith in you and above? Speak only truth with love to the reflection and be accountable to the narrative that you chose. This is the infinite evolution.